This follows the TEDx series, How Unicorns Wind Up in a Straitjacket. Hi, thank you for joining us on Unicorns Out of a Straitjacket. That's to say, talented people that are in the wrong jobs for them, and therefore they have the feeling that the straitjacket elicits. So that's like, it's restrictive, it's uncomfortable, it's just not right for you. So today, with me sharing her story, is the beautiful, amazing Amber Rose, all the way from the United States of America. So she's going to be sharing her career change story with you, and sit tight. This is a good one. So hi, Amber Rose, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much for being here. So Amber Rose is the CEO and founder of a Butterfly Rose PR company. And I'm going to let her tell you a bit more about what she does, who she works with, and what she specializes in.
Yes, so I own my own PR firm as of about a little bit less than a month ago. And I know, and I work with some of the most intelligent authors. We have, books just flying everywhere. We have great foundations for our relationships. We have amazing prices that are customized to our clients because we understand that not everybody can afford the PR that they deserve.
Yeah, that is so important. Not everybody can afford the PR they deserve.
That may be my slogan.
Yeah, you've got super talented people that never get out there because do you know, I think that's your slogan. And
I
well,
think
that's your genius.
that was original.
I love that. So tell us a bit about your career journey. Where did you start from? What have you done before? You said it's been a month since you've been officially open in the PR company. What did you do before?
Oh, wow. Before I grew up watching my parents run companies, and it was more of in the lawn equipment business and AC, things of that sort. And then I went from that to waitressing and then bartending at clubs and things like that. And then I decided to head over to the psych world, and I worked at the psych hospital, which actually was one of my favorite jobs. And then I decided I wanted to learn more about addiction as well. So I headed over to an addiction facility. From there, I went back to serving. And then I decided I was going to be working at a production company that happened to have no PR department. So I created the PR department. I became chief of the PR department there.
Yeah.
And a few weeks later, found out that the company was not legit and was fraudulent. So I then decided to take my journey and I resigned. When I resigned, I sent a letter out to the PR clients to let them know from the company's email that I will no longer be handling their services, but I wish them all the best. So all of a sudden, one of my clients calls me up and she's like, this is after she's already texted me. She's like, can I work with you individually? And I said, did you sign a contract? And she goes, no, I wouldn't sign anything. And I said, well, then sure. So, 3 days later, I got my friend who is an IT person to build me a website.
Wow.
I filed for an LLC the same exact day. and I started working with my first client, and we've made headway. So that's kind of where I did my transition.
I mean, that is an incredible journey. And you know what I really love about your story is that you've invented and reinvented yourself so many times. And it's all using the skills that you've got. And actually, the fact that someone pointed out to you that I only specifically want to work with you. And sometimes it happens because, and we'll see this later when we talk about the steps, sometimes you're complimented on them and people see that genius in you and they sort of like coax you in that way because they're like, you're so good at this. Oh, so this is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's very reassuring.
How would you say the journey has been for you? What's the emotional, psychological uh, impact of it going from hospitality, going from psych and cosmetology? We spoke about cosmetology as well.
That's
And
cosmetology as
into,
well.
and into the world of PR. Well, what did that feel like for you?
Um, I think that one thing they all have in common is communication skills. And that's something I've definitely always had my whole life. I've had this ability to adapt and overcome. It's why I have thrived and survived so many times in so many different situations. So,
So you use that communication skill.
yeah, I use that communication skill. Absolutely.
Amazing. And so that was a clue for you, communication, that you would be really good at this. Are there any traits from your childhood or other things that you would consider your genius that you've identified that really helped you in your career?
Absolutely. I would say from my childhood, things that definitely have guided me and helped me shift my life
Yeah.
are the um, aspects of communication that my mother always made sure I had.
Wow.
She made sure I hit every point. She had me in dance class, singing class, acting, modeling, tennis, volleyball. I mean, I can't hit a volleyball to save my life, but she had me in volleyball anyway. So I was just like the team clown. I don't know.
Right. But you were always surrounded by people, so you got the
Always.
opportunity.
And now people ask me, they're like, how do you know this person? How do you know this person? You have so many connections. What is going on? And I'm like, well, my mom always taught me to be genuine and kind and open-minded to the fact that appearances are not always what they seem that they are.
Yes.
And you never know who you're standing next to. So you always have a conversation if it feels like a positive conversation could happen between you, which, you can feel that energy.
I mean, that is sound advice, and thanks to your mom. That is really good advice for us. Uh, Going on to step two of how to really craft the career that works for you, we talk about connecting the dots from your childhood, the clues that you've identified, and maybe adding them to the lifestyle that you've chosen or the hobbies that you did. So you've touched on a few of them. Any other ways that you've connected the dots in your career?
I think I was spoiled as a kid, being able to, instead of doing like study hall, I would go work at my parents' office, which
Right.
I didn't always go work at my parents' office. Sometimes I would just go home. So I think I was spoiled with the fact that I was able to work at whichever office I chose and do whichever job I wanted to do. And I didn't really have anybody breathing down my neck telling me, you've got to do it this way and you have to do this. Um, so I think at a young age, I realized that I can work for somebody, But ultimately, I think I know that I have to work for myself in order to work for other people to help them along as well.
Right, right. And I think that's so powerful because usually we view these things, well, depending when I'm working with my clients, sometimes when they're working with their parents' businesses, it's a negative because maybe they're being forced into the business or whatever. But the fact that you're given that opportunity to self manage from a young age, that really instills that independence in you. So that definitely is a positive. And of course, that's helped you along your journey. Now, finally, on the third step, where we combine all of this, how have you applied the dots you've identified and the clues in your current career as a PR professional? How do you use that communication skills and that independent thinker skills in PR?
I use them wisely. I vet all my clients. I actually have gotten very lucky in the fact where I am able to go and hand select my clients.
Yeah.
I'm finding that, as I'm doing this more and more, I'm leaning more towards authors of books. I love reading. Reading is a passion of mine.
Right.
And so I've gotten lucky in the sense that I know that. And, I have sound mind of that. I have friends that have written books. I have connections in that world.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it's all about, just connecting all those dots for each individual
Mm.
on their own level, because in reality, the way I see PR is not about the amount of money that I'm getting paid.
Mm.
So I don't charge, you know, to where you and I talked about this earlier, to where, they charge you an arm and a leg to and maybe a toe to like put a press release on a desk that has 10 other press release. And if Kate Hudson is eating an ice cream on the street, it's going to get picked up before yours is. So
Yeah.
then you just paid $4,000 to put your paper on a desk. Why not take that paper and let's utilize our,
Research.
society has given us these tools of, like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all these different avenues. Why are we not using these avenues for PR and our own personal connections?
Mm.
Why is it not word of mouth anymore? You used to be able to hear about the news because it was your next door neighbor that got shot in the middle of the night and their horse got stolen. And so I'm talking about like way, 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 way back.
Like, that got dark quick.
I'm just saying, like, you would find out about that from the newspaper that gets left on your doorstep with your milk carton.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore. We have, CNN that pops up on our phone. We have Amber Alerts, which thank you for that, by the way. I'm always screamed at whenever an Amber Alert pops up. So whoever invented that name.
Oh yes, of course. Umbrella.
But basically it all comes down to simplicity and simplifying what people have made a lot more difficult than it needs to be, simply because money is the root of all evil, in my opinion. But we need it.
Absolutely. It depends on who's using that money.
Exactly.
So, what would you say if what's the one thing you'd say to somebody who's perhaps considering a similar career change to you, probably wants to break into PR or just wants to transition into a different career and seeing how you successfully transitioned over and over again? What would you say to them? Oh, this is going to
I
be
would
good.
I would say meditate, but that's not everybody's forte. And so I can understand that. I would say to be purpose driven,
Mm,
intuitive, and well thought out, but also in the moment. Don't question yourself. If it feels right, go for it. And I mean, I'm just, you know, I forget the word, but I am like the ultimate,
go,
you
go,
know,
there. Impulse.
I'm the ultimate kind of person for that, testimony for that, because thanks, Luke. Because I quit my job on Saturday and I filed for an LLC on Tuesday.
Wow. So don't wait.
So don't wait, do it, and be guided with your soul and your heart, and make sure it aligns with you and it's something that you can picture yourself doing for the rest of your life. And even if you can't, then, you know, businesses fall every day.
Yeah.
You can rebuild, and you can rebuild maybe a different structure. You have to try out all the different structures before you figure out which one is meant to hold you up.
Definitely. And I love that you say that, because as you said, you're the testament for it, you know, not waiting, being super proactive, taking what's it
Initiative.
yeah, taking initiative, but being inspired. There was a word for it that I know that you were searching for it. Inspired action. So if you
Intuitive.
yeah, so if you're inspired and your intuition says go for it, and doing it anyway. And I love that about you. And I love that about the work that you do. So guys, if you're interested in what Amber Rose is doing, and she's doing some big things, let me tell you, go check her out.
Don't be a unicorn in a straight jacket.
Gotcha.